what it really boils down to, it's boredom. You get bored. What do you do when you get bored?
It's
you go get dope. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You gotta keep yourself busy. Like for me, I'm up 4:30 in the morning every day. And on my weekends, I'm up like
with
5
that
o'clock.
nightstand light on and everything.
Hey, when I get up, it's dark out.
Putting up with that is love.
Yeah.
You know?
Good
That's
job.
what it means to
You're
be
welcome.
married.
I have a schedule, and like that's one of the main things I learned in recovery is you have to have a schedule. When I was at RITP, Recovery in the Pines, we were running, 12-hour days. Like we were staying busy, and that's the whole key is like you got to stay busy. If you're not staying busy, like you're in serious trouble.
My whole schedule was like, going to Bible study, elements, church, and then that kind of got taken away.
Yeah.
And so I'm at home when I'm not working, and I'm by myself. Because when I was in rehab, you're all pissed because you're around a bunch of guys all the time, and then all of a sudden you go to being alone, and you're like, shit.
Yeah,
The
once you leave,
grass
you're
is
like-
greener. You're like, oh man, I miss some of those
Hey, is
guys.
it cool if I come, grab some food from the recovery center? Like, I just come and hang out for 30 minutes?
I was I was going to the gym still with the guys. And then all of a sudden I was trying to help them with what I learned when I went through it. Like a lot of the new guys that showed up, look like dog shit. I'm just trying to give them some hope because when you're in rehab, like the first 2 weeks feel like the whole year.
Yeah.
You every day
Is it
feels like,
forever?
yeah.
Dude, it totally sucks.
Yeah.
The first 2 weeks,
Yeah.
and all you're told is to do is the one thing you're told to do is get in the van. Just get in the van, because you're not
Just do it.
you're not doing anything else. Like you're kind of you're not like stuck, but you're in a situation where you don't have any control over it.
So it's
Yeah, you feel like you're being cattle prodded. You get
Pretty
sick,
much, yeah.
You get sick of it when you're tired and still detoxing and exhausted, and then you have someone telling you you're going to be in trouble if you don't get up and get moving. So, where are you from, Matt?
I'm from Gilbert, Arizona.
Oh, so you're from here. You're from Arizona still.
Yeah, it's great up here. Living up here is like driving in the carpool lane.
Yeah.
You're just chilling. You're trotting along.
I feel like you realize you don't need all that big city stuff.
Yeah.
Like you don't need those big towns. You just need
Well,
like what?
when you're trying to go shoe shopping up here sucks.
Hey, I got some good ones today.
Where Ross? It's the only place to
No.
buy anything. Ross is the only
Ross and
spot up
Target
here.
are amazing.
Yeah.
So don't be dissing.
No,
them.
you can come up at Ross. You can find some
can.
good stuff. I know that you've struggled with addiction, Matt. What about you, Whitney?
I come from
She's
the
a
other side
normie.
of it.
Yeah.
I can
now.
entirely relate to
Yeah.
you on a lot of things. I'm interested in hearing a little bit about kind of what you guys went through and how I can relate to it with my relationship. Because my girlfriend, she never seen drugs or never really had an issue. I tried to pretend I was somebody else. Even on the first date with her, I was high, but she didn't know.
She had no
It wasn't
idea
a
what it
thing.
looked like.
But in my head, I was like, I promise I'm going to get sober. I'm not going to put her through this.
Yeah.
But I put her through some serious trauma.
I was on the other side of it all. I had an ex that used, got my house raided even.
Oh.
I learned a lot from that side of it. I also learned, I was around all the, we had family friends that were always drinking and stuff. So I was around a lot of that growing up. And I think seeing it, and I swore off anything. Once all that went down, I was like, no.
When Whitney and I met, I had just moved into my apartment because I was living with my sponsor and I was getting high, and I had just moved in my apartment and I went to jail because my PO came over and I had needles and I had 2 people I didn't know staying at my house.
Do you remember what he said to you when he saw that?
My PO was she was like, what the hell?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was like, I don't fucking know. I can't. I don't know how to not do it. I don't know. I don't know what's wrong with me.
Yeah.
So when I met Whitney, I told Earl and Whitney what was going on with me. Dude, I was broken, And Whitney was actually here's my phone number. Give me a call if you ever need anything. I didn't really give her
I was
a call.
writing scriptures down for you.
Yeah, I still have that stuff.
It was
in my wallet.
in my head. I felt
Good
like God
husband.
was just telling me stuff and writing down all these things that he needs to know. So I'm like, go get me a piece of paper. And he's like, what? And just go get me a piece of paper. And I started writing all this stuff down. I'm like, call this number if you ever need help with anything.
Yeah.
So you were going to Elements though for like trauma issues, or
Basically.
because when it comes down to like the steps and I guess just recovery in general, I don't think. I mean, everyone should do what we
It's
kind of
not
had to
just for
do
recovery.
for recovery because it clears up your head, it clears up that trauma, it gets you more focused on what's important. Everyone should do it, and so
Yes.
that's awesome that you actually went.
You replace all the steps, because I did a walkthrough on all the steps, and I replaced everything from with where it has any kind of alcohol or whatever your addiction is. I just replaced it with whatever I was struggling with my issues that I had, and it ultimately really teaches you how to just have that better relationship with God to make you a better person, help you be a better person.
And it worked, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, by far.
I tell the same thing to people that I know that are struggling that could use some help. I'm like, yeah, maybe just do A, B, and C. This is kind of what I did, and there was stuff that I didn't even realize that I was suffering from trauma-wise until you really dig into it. Until you start to find out that, like,
Realize.
oh wow, this is why I react this way in these situations. People say they have anger problems, or they're depressed all the time, or anxious. It's relating to something deeper down, and you have to figure out what that is.
What is causing this? How do I, cure it? Or how do I help it? Yeah, I started off with weed. I wasn't real big in on alcohol. I didn't like it. I liked the numbness feeling. And I think it was when I was 18, I did Oxycontin recreational. And from there, I was just like...
You didn't start off with Lortab or anything? You just did
Oxycontin.
You did the damn thing.
Yeah.
First time I ever had it was the dentist. And I just remember laying there on the bed and just sinking into the bed and watching the fan spin. Who gave you the Oxy?
So my buddy's mom was like, I'm pretty sure like she was an addict or something. I don't know. But she had them and we went and stole them from her. And like that's how we ended up doing it. And then after that, it was just balls to the wall. I was like trying to get my hands on whatever kind of opiate I could get. That's what I wanted.
What'd you feel? Did you feel like it cured you of like what? Like anger, depression?
I thought when I was doing, opiates that I was a likable person. I felt like everybody else in the room.
Yeah.
I felt like I could relate to other people.
Like talkative and outgoing, like who you wanted to be.
Yeah,
deep
because
down.
normally, like, I'm kind of the guy that sits in the back, doesn't really say a whole lot of anything.
Quiet, shy.
Yeah. So, like, when I was taking, opiates, I was like a time bomb. I was really alive and just full of energy.
So you felt like there might have been something wrong with you, and then that was the cure for it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
So you just stuck with Oxy until they stopped making it, probably.
Then I started to get sick, and I was like, what the heck's going on?
Sick when you were taking it?
No, like, when
Withdrawing.
when you withdraw.
Oh, I know.
I didn't know what was, like, really happening, and I was just like, yeah, whatever, like, I'll go get some more pills, maybe that'll help. And it did help, I just didn't know, like, what it was actually doing to me. So my brother's best friend died from heroin, all right? And I always told myself, no, I will not do dope. Like, I won't do it. But I did it. And why? Because I was desperate. I started smoking it, and, like, this one dude was like, dude, you waste it.
That's what he said to me, too. I just stuck with smoking it because I thought, like, every day, I've said this before on here, every day, I thought I was going to wake up, because I planned this when I was high, that I was going to wake up and not want to do it anymore.
Oh, yeah.
And then if I was to shoot up, it was a firm commitment on, like, just I always wanted to use it. Yeah. But I swore, too, I was never going to touch heroin. And then pills became so expensive and harder to find.
Dude, it's like $30 a pill.
Yeah.
And you get a 30 sack and you're almost at half.
I mean, I thought it was like a business investment, like being smarter about my money. What do you think was worse coming off of Oxy or heroin?
Dude, I hate heroin.
Yeah.
Like, you've shot before, right?
No.
No?
No.
Dude, once you shoot up, like, it's all fucking a different game from there. Like, smoking it is like a way different withdrawal from shooting it. Because then you get the bio that you puke up.
Yeah.
And that was horrible.
I was smoking it, but like you said, I was probably wasting it. I was buying at least just to feel okay, a half a gram, and then if I wanted to have fun, a gram, which is $80.
Yeah.
But I started getting them for cheaper because I was such a great customer. So growing up, Whitney, how was life for you?
My dad's side of the family is really big. So I had a lot of my cousins here. I was always with family growing up. Like we had quads and or golf carts, and I was driving when I was like 7 years old. Like we just had a lot of fun.
So what happened to you for you to want to go to Elements?
Men.
Yeah. Yeah.
It sucked. No, I was in a couple relationships that kind of went bad quick. The first one, he waited a couple of years until it went bad, and then got to the physical part of it where he was not very nice. And then next thing you know, he's just like not there. Like his body was there, but he wasn't there. I'm like, something's not right.
So you'd say you struggle with codependency a little bit.
Oh yeah.
I didn't realize until I got into recovery that I did too. You don't realize how much it's toxic. It's hindering your life, and you're thinking, I just love this person, so I'm doing this
You'll be
for him,
fine.
and that's why I'm doing
And
it.
you turn around and open your front door, and there's the marshals and the PANT and the sheriff and the police department all there raiding your house. We're like, what the frick is happening? Find out that I don't use the garage. I never did. And so, the garage entrance was a different side of the house. So I never got to see what was going in and out of it. Nothing. He was like, had a dealer in our garage, and he was like working out of our garage.
What?
I was like, wait, what? What's going
how
on
long
out
did
there?
how long did it take you to realize that was going on?
So I think, oh man, let's see. I started noticing a difference in him. I want to say the summer before we moved in January. So I would say from January to June for 6 months. I knew there was something different with him, but I had no idea until they raided the house.
So you like made a fort and just had sleepovers and told secrets
yeah.
and told each other who their crushes were at school every night. It's all
Because I couldn't see in the garage or anything from our house because it's like on the back side of it. I could never see into it. I never saw anyone going out of it because I couldn't see any part of it.
and that was here in town.
Yeah, up behind the high school.
Okay.
A lot of trust issues, I think. And then I started dating someone else, and that brought harm to my niece. You know, he attempted to do stuff to her, and luckily she was sassy enough to up and walk out. I think the codependency was the hugest thing for me because I was like, I don't want to. And I realized just how strong I really am, and just how much I really needed God. I think really just finding myself, finding my relationship with God, and just happy and content being alone. That was my hardest thing, was learning how just to be alone. And knowing that just because I'm alone at that time, like I was single for like 3.5, almost 4 years before I met him. So it's kind of like I had to really learn how to be content by myself. And during that time, I was really able to jump into church and really get myself involved in different life groups and really find out who I was. And then once I was comfortable in that, I was able to like know what it is I was looking for and what to look for.
Matt, after you got into the Oxy and you had the legal issues, did it stop after that for you?
No. I was addicted, and I wanted more, right? So, like, I would do anything, and I started cashing fake checks. I was, in trouble, but nothing was set in stone yet. So I was, like, cashing checks and doing all this, like, crazy shit. I was, like, walking around Phoenix at night, robbing shit from cars.
That's what I do on Xanax. Like, it was crazy. I would take Xanax, and you just want to, like, steal when you're on that shit.
Car hop, man.
And I would go to the apartment complex by where I was living and then just go one by one checking all the cars. I wake up the next morning with all this shit in my
Yeah.
house, and I'm like, who put this here?
Yeah.
What is this doing here?
Yeah.
You could pass a polygraph on, like, if they
Yeah.
asked you, and because you don't remember
just
it.
don't know it.
It's two different realities. It's hard to tell somebody, because I have a normie girlfriend too.
Mm-hmm.
You try to explain the compulsion, and you try to explain, like, you know, because they wonder why you just can't stop
Yeah.
using.
Why can't you?
Yeah.
You know, and it's just, it's like an itch, you know. It's like when you get a bug bite and you want to scratch it until, like, you know, your whole arm's red.
And it becomes an obsession.
Yeah.
Like, when you can't do it, that's all you're thinking about. People would say stuff to me and go in one ear and out the other. Like, I wouldn't even be hearing people that are sitting next to me
Yeah.
when that would click on, that compulsion to go use.
Yeah.
So how did your relationship with her get affected from you using?
We started dating like a month and a half after that, around that time. So when we started like really talking to each other, it was like the day he was like like 2 days after he got in trouble. So he was like detoxing, and
Yeah.
when that's when him and I started, like, in my mind, I didn't
It was
see
a
anything.
friendship.
Mm-hmm.
you
It was
know.
like, here's just another person who I could be a friend with and help. And then it was like,
They're just involved.
yeah.
Did you see any of that detox?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah?
That first night he was there, he was like shivering, and he was like in his big Carhartt and like just bundled up and like shivering and freezing, and he just looked so like
Helpless.
it didn't look like this.
So you just felt compelled to help him, though? Everyone
Yeah.
that's going through that needs someone. I don't know anyone that really got off of it just, like, because they wanted to
Yeah.
on their own. I had to get pulled out of it. I had to get put away from it, and I had to start listening to other people besides myself, because
Right.
your brain's going to lie to you. It's going to tell you, like, it's going to do every trick in the book to get you to take that back.
Yeah.
Every part of you will start hurting. Like, you'll have headaches, backaches, and then it'll convince you that isn't related to the withdrawal, and that you really have a problem, so you need the drug that
Yeah.
you need. It's the most twisted thing to try and come off of opiates.
It's
I think.
like amputees. They have this, like,
It's the phenomenal pain.
Yeah.
Phenomenon.
Phantom
fake-
limb.
Phantom, that's what
I'm
thinking of.
You know, and
Yeah.
that's what it's like for addicts and alcoholics, you know.
Did you go to treatment here?
I did.
Where'd you go?
Recovery in the Pines.
What, when you were there, did you learn that kind of changed your heart? Do you remember one day that something clicked, or was it just like an accumulation of everything you learned
It
there?
was just more of like an accumulation. You know, like I was in that program for almost a year, and I learned, I learned how to do a schedule, because I didn't have any schedule when I was, 22, 23. I was just kind of, I'm going to go to work today, and maybe I'll do this and go to the bar, but, once I started going to Recovery in the Pines, things changed. I got into, I got I got a routine going, and then a schedule, and I learned how to supply for myself, as an adult, as a husband. I learned how to be a good husband or boyfriend at the time. I was in all these different classes, and it was like a father class, and it's like prepping you for the future to come.
So the final straw was what for you with your addiction? How come you came up here for treatment?
I was in and out of rehabs, in and out, and 25, and I'm going to church because my family is very heavily involved. My mom's a children's pastor. My brother-in-law's, he's a missionary, and I was playing drums for this church at the time, and I was, slamming dope in my arm, and I was getting ready to play a set, and I just remember God help me. I don't want to be like this anymore. And my pastor actually gave my mom this, pamphlet to Recovery in the Pines, and that's where I ended up going. I stayed there for a year. I fucked up, but I, picked myself back up, and I'm very thankful for probation.
Some people use probation, though, like the legal stuff, just to like white knuckle and get through the whole thing. Like,
I think having a really good probation officer can change all of that for people.
Yeah, if
There
you got a
is-
good PO, like,
Yeah.
you're golden. You got a shitty PO, you're fucked.
yeah.
You know?
So she went the extra mile for
Oh, yeah.
you, and like actually kind of like counseled you in a way.
Pretty much,
There
yeah.
was times that like we would be sitting. I think before we moved this last time, she would be at the house doing a check in, and she'd be an hour and a half later. We're like, she's like, oh, I gotta get going,
Yeah, I got
and
other
she'd get up
stops
and
to
have
do.
to like.
So she actually cared, and she
yeah.
wasn't just there trying to bust you.
Yeah.
Like actually,
She
would set
cares
goals
about
with you.
her probationaries. She cares about them. If you're not doing the right things, if you're fucking up, you're gonna reap the consequences. You know, and that's what happened to me. But she gave me a second chance. She believed in me. You know, I could have been sitting in the Verdi, sitting in jail, but I'm not.
Well, she sat there and she like helped. Like I remember one time he came home with that paper and it was like your goals
Yeah.
that you guys had. Like you had marched out, and it was like so many every 3 month kind of. There was like a goal he wanted to complete, and like she helped him kind of like
Yeah.
keep focused on it.
Like, you want to be sober, you have to, cut all ties to everything that are going to trigger you. And that's pretty much what I had to do. I got a whole new phone number. I wasn't talking to my buddies no more. I was focusing on work. I wanted to get a good paying job. That's what I got. So everything that I have now, I've worked for.
yeah, the things that you got to cut ties with to stay sober, like changing your phone number. I had to leave where I was from.
Yeah, they're hard. No one said it's going to be easy.
Stuff that'll trigger you that you don't even think about. Just associating things with, I don't know, seeing an old neighborhood and. I mean, I know when I'd go back to visit at first, I just felt guilty because I'd see things and I'd be like, I remember something I did back then, like stole or something from this certain place, or I like totally embarrassed myself being high in a store or something.
And now, and just like when you think of those moments, like you just cringe because you know that like it wasn't right. You know that you had fucked up, and there's nothing that you can do. Right, like you can't do anything to help that, but you can stay sober. That's something you can do. That person or whoever may not be ready to forgive you.
We beat ourselves up, and we know
We're pretty
God.
good at that.
Yeah, we know why. We know that God forgives us, and it's like why can't we forgive ourselves?
It's like we're harder on ourselves than
Yeah, it's God
what we
forgives, but
really
why
need to
can't
be.
we?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean
Why
it
do we
makes
have
sense.
such a hard time with it?
It's just not wanting to be viewed in a certain light by others, I think. And we pray about it to Him, and just give it up to Him and say, "Hey, I'm sorry. I feel this way. I did this, and I don't want to feel ashamed anymore." And because that shame will bring you back to using like this carousel of like how you use because you don't want to use, and like
But you end up doing it anyways.
yeah. And eventually you'll start to change your heart. Like you'll start to alleviate those things. Sometimes people don't forgive you. People don't want to talk to you anymore. But you will come to accept that God only put them there in your life for that long. You don't need to force some people to still be in your life. I mean, I guess it's
there's-
harder with family, but
Yeah, but there's some. I remember reading the other day. If that person or that scene, whatever it is, it's not in your life now, there is a reason why He took it out of your life. There's a reason why it's not here right now, and that He's got you focused on something completely different. And so it's just, I think, it's time and understanding of like knowing and like seeing things in a different perspective, and like understanding, okay, this is meant to be this way because of this reason.
And when we're addicts, we also form this like illusion of ourself of like this is like the best version of me. This is when I had the most money and I had the most friends and I felt accepted, and so I need to keep working back to being like that versus allowing it to be a chapter that just closes and allowing whatever God has in store to accept it. to just be okay with, roll with the punches.
Yeah, you just gotta go with the flow, man.
Yeah, in our addiction, us addicts, we really focus on the past and the future more than the present moment.
Yeah.
One thing I learned when I was going through recovery was the mindfulness, like staying in the present moment and like focusing on what you can do right now. I mean, it's in the Serenity Prayer, and I didn't know what that meant until I started building a schedule of my own and getting a routine going. Started feeling better about myself because I was following through on commitments that I was doing and realizing that I wasn't just a piece of shit deep down. And you start to realize that and you start to get some self-worth. I don't feel like we had much self-worth when we decided to take the drugs back then. Like how you said how you felt better after you had the oxy, like you were a part of everyone else in the room. You just... It's like you just feel inferior. You feel like everyone in the room has it and you don't. Like you feel like they get it and you're the only one that's there's something wrong with you. You think you look good when you're on the you feel like ooh like
got the nods and everything, man. You can't stand up straight.
Are you high?
No,
I'm just tired.
Yeah, man. I didn't sleep at all last night.
At all.
Things during COVID have actually been really nice because I can just focus on myself and then focus on my wife. Just learning to trust God, because we get all caught up in the moment, in the world and what's going on, with, democracy and stuff like that. Things that are going on in the world, we get all caught up in that. And I believe for myself, get back into that, carpool lane where you're just cruising along, you're not in no hurry, you're just chilling.
It's kind of like God took out everything, all your distractions, and made it where you can just focus on your relationship with Him, and just really kind of focus on what is important and what it is that you what you really need.
Yeah,
like learning to trust God when you don't have anything else to fall back on, like no crutches, like just this is what it all came down to keep you sober. It's like that's the only thing that's not going to leave you. We can lose the meetings, we could lose friends and sponsors, and we could, but are we still going to stay sober? And the one way to do that is the relationship that we have with Him. And this was the test for that, I feel like. So you can look at it both ways. You can look at it like, oh, I got through COVID without meetings, and I don't need any of that stuff. Or you can look at it like, oh, this is a way for me to strengthen my relationship with God when I don't have any of that stuff.
To be honest, like right now is probably like the best time is, go on, I don't know, Amazon Books and look up, some daily, what are they called?
The devotionals?
Yes, daily devotionals. Get on some of those or try some Bible studies.
You know what's a really cool one is the Chosen app. Have you heard of that one yet?
Is it based on the show?
Yeah.
Because my parents talk all about that show.
It's pretty freaking cool.
It's pretty sick.
It basically goes over the Gospels, and it's like, I think he's most, because like Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John are all kind of the same story, it's just different perspectives. It just kind of covers the Gospels with the first season was so far. And like that has been, there's times where I'm like, I don't feel like I'm getting what I need, and so I'll just turn on, because I can like connect my phone to the TV, and I'll just watch an episode, and I'm like, whoa.
But I'm going to go check it out now that you guys recommended it to me. I know my parents like it, but then it's like, is stuff really very cool if your parents like it first?
Like, you get like the, I think there's other like Bible stories on there that like they like mostly during Christmas. Those to me are like, yeah, I got a good point to them, but the way that they like present them, I'm like, it's not like intriguing.
One thing that's cool, I want to relate to is that you were both Christian, right? Or you both had God when you met each other, and so that's strengthened your relationship.
Yeah, every other time that I've tried any type of relationship with someone that didn't have the same faith as I, like, it was just shit. It was trash. And I do believe that when you get into a relationship that you need to be equally yoked. And if you're not, like, it may work, but it's going to be rough. That's my own opinion.
My favorite part is that whenever I'm not feeling that strong, if I'm having my days where I'm letting whatever insecurities or anxieties kind of get to me, I can go to Matt and he kind of like, did you go pray about it? We have this thing we got from our premarital counseling with Earl and Steph. It's called the 1, 2, 3 Skidoo. But it's like a 3-step
I've
prayer.
heard them talk about that. Yeah,
It's the
I didn't know
coolest
what that
thing
was.
ever. It is the coolest thing ever because he'll like, he'll tell me, did you skidoo? And I was like, forget you.
That,
I get mad at first. I'm like, okay, wait a minute. I need to go to God first. That's what he's reminding me. And so it's been, I think, really handy to have that. And then like during all this COVID stuff, that's been our biggest thing is like we read together at night. We started redoing our premarital counseling again, and then we started reading this book by Francis Chan. And his wife wrote it. I can't remember the name of it now. We started doing that, so it's like neat. Both of us having the same faith like background because we can both encourage each other and grow even more.
I admire that. I envy that a little bit just because, back when I was using and my focus was on other things, like primarily like my career and, how I was perceived, I didn't care. I mean, I heard people talk about being equally yoked. I didn't understand what that meant or why it was very important. And then the girlfriend I have now, we've been together for 7 years, and people are like, well, why aren't you guys married and stuff by now? Well, I mean, like, I didn't want to get married to somebody and have all these vows said that, I couldn't commit to if I was high. And I had, so I didn't feel like I should actually go ahead with that if I couldn't, be a good husband, like, you were talking about all the stuff you had to do to get there. But her mom was Seventh-day Adventist, was like the ones that go to church on Saturday. I mean, and had a difficult time, with that. She thought that's what Christianity was. She thought a religion. If you had a relationship with God, you had to do all those things.
Yeah, and if you fuck up, well, you're shit out of luck.
Yeah, you're straight to hell. She just had a bad look on Christianity. I mean, she's open to it. And now after I've been sober and she's seen what I've gone through and she's seen how God changed my heart and brought me back to life again, basically, she's more open to it and wants to hear it, but she just has this bad image of it from what she saw with her mom. And then now her twin sister and her only sibling has breast cancer, and like they're only like 33, so it's kind of a young deal. God kind of put it on her heart to where she saw something pop up on YouTube that said, I like these girls that were giving their testimony. I used to do tarot and all this, and then now I've converted to Jesus, and this is how it happened. And I'm like, so all the stuff that you saw me go through, and all the people I've had on this podcast and all the stuff you watch YouTube video and that's what's clicked. And now she's sending me Bible verses and everything. And I've been praying about this for a year now at Bible study. Yeah. And it's just crazy to see how this stuff has worked itself out. And
slowly.
Give up that control to God, and then, because I didn't want to like codependently hold her hand and say, oh, you need to accept God.
That's not the right way, though, because it's not going to allow her to be strong and have her own faith. Because you individually, the way that I think we were talking about with Earl and stuff is, it's not just here that matters, it's what's going up. So you both have to have, like your TP, you both have to be going up in order for your foundation to be right. And so individually, I have to be strong on my own to find it, and so does he. And then once we have that, but it's kind of neat though, because it's kind of like he's using other people in different ways to kind of open up that light for her to see it.
It's awful that her sister has breast cancer, right?
Yeah.
But they have had trauma too with their dad leaving and all his alcoholism, and then what she's seen with me, and they kind of have their own little bubble going on, and they need God. They need God. And I've always known this, even though I was totally screwed up. I was like, I really hope God works this out some way or another. And then it came down to her sister having to get cancer to realize that they need help. And they need something to grab onto. And all this other fake shit going on.
Yeah.
with like, you know, the stars, it's not going to fill that void.
Yeah.
No. Well, and that's what a lot of people I think that they're searching for. They feel empty here, and they're trying to fill it with material things. Okay, well, if I get married, if I have this car, if I have all these nice things, I should be better. And then once they achieve it, it's like, okay, well, now I got to get a newer car. Now I got to get a bigger house.
Yeah.
And it's like they keep chasing that thing.
Gotta
When
get
in
a new
reality,
job.
it's like that this stuff here isn't going to sustain you. It's going to be God that sustains you. And that's
Yeah.
going to be what makes you feel like satisfied. And once you learn how to achieve, like not achieve that, but once you learn how to, or to accept that, and like you're okay with that, it's kind of just like everything else just falls into place.
Like we talked about earlier when we said having God as the foundation or whatever is the only thing that can fulfill you and keep you whole inside, and we can lose everything that we were holding on to. That's the only thing that you don't ever lose is that
Yeah.
relationship and that trust.
Right.
And you build that trust by going through these kinds of things and seeing how God delivers on the way, like on the aftermath. You know, when you look back in hindsight, you're like, man, I don't know why I was tripping so hard on
Yeah.
on the
Yeah,
whole
not to
damn
worry
thing.
about
Like I
that
see
bad.
what you're doing. Shit. Yeah, so like I said, I do envy that you guys have that foundation. I'm hoping that God's moving in that direction for me. It was great to have you guys on the show. I know that going through this stuff, I bring on different people that struggle with addiction. And I actually brought my girlfriend on for one of the episodes in season 1, and her and I discussed kind of the same thing.
Yeah.
And people out there, you know, that have loved ones that are addicts, they need some help with all this stuff too. And it's great that you guys have God as your foundation, and that when you started your relationship, you got through mostly all that
Yeah.
dark stuff from the past.
Yeah,
It was really
you,
kind of
'cause
like
not
God
everyone
just, like,
has.
fixed it.
yeah, you really got to put God first. You know, that's what I started doing. You know, I put God first before me. You know, and like my relationship with Whitney kind of just fell in my lap. You know, it's not something I was looking for; it just happened. You know, I don't know, because I'd like to say it gets better, but I mean, every time you fall, you got to get back up. You know, and that's okay when you fall down because you learn. You know, you can't learn if you don't fall.
Be comfortable with who you are. Be comfortable being alone. And just give all you have to God. And just rely on that faith and put everything you have into that.
Anyways, guys, thanks for tuning in. If you need to hit up Whitney about any deals going on at Ross, check in with her. If you have any questions for them, I'll put them in touch with you. And so have your people call my people. We'll all do lunch. It's great to have you
Got
guys.
it.
Peace.
See you later.